Today, we are starting the second Sarga of Valmiki Ramayana. So, in the previous class, we covered up the entire Sarga 1, which is the first 100 shlokas of the Valmiki Ramayana. Mind you, there are 2400, meaning 2400 shlokas in Valmiki Ramayana. So we covered the first 100 and we are getting into second Sarga. So like that, there are 23 Sargas in the Balakanda. And like that, there are 7 Kandas in the Valmiki Ramayana. So 7 Kanda, and each Kanda has different Sargas. And overall, there are 24,000 shlokas. In the first Sarga, the theme was Maharshi Valmiki approached his teacher, Maharshi Narada, and asked a question: is there a human being in our time who has all the noble qualities typically called out by scriptures? And Narada, with a smile, answered that I know a person who has all these qualities, and his name is Rama. And then Narada enumerated all these noble qualities of Rama. And after that, what Narada did was, he covered the life story of Rama in 100 shlokas. So we saw that the entire Ramacharitam was described by Narada to Maharshi Valmiki in a very, very high level manner, right? So it's not that detailed, but the entire major events in the life of Rama was described. And he described some of the future events also, because Rama is a contemporary of Valmiki and he is still ruling the kingdom. So up to the Pattabhishekam, he described in the past tense. And then what is about to come also is described in 100 shlokas. The glory of Rama Rajya was described. So that is where we saw. And today we will continue to second Sarga. What happened after that conversation? That's what we are going to see today. That story continues. So the first shloka tells, after hearing the beautiful words of Narada, Valmiki had a doubt. He knew Rama is something great. In fact, it is the name of Rama that made the Valmiki Valmiki, if you remember. Valmiki was a hunter, right? A sage, how that sage was born is beautiful, because Valmiki was a hunter, robber. He was like, at a time he was playing the role of a hunter, but he was robbing and looting also. And apparently he tried to loot the Narada Maharshi. And Narada Maharshi said, why are you doing these wrong actions? Not hunting, but the looting. Hunting is the dharma of a hunter. That is understandable. But why are you looting innocent people? And Valmiki said, hunting may not feed my family, so I have to loot. And Narada said, that's not the right way. You have to work hard to feed your family. And if you follow adharma to earn money and feed your family, that is not good. Do you think that who is going to bear all these wrong, the fruits of these wrongdoing? He said, the entire family. Narada said, you go and check. And you know the story. Valmiki realized, no, it was not Valmiki at that point of time. It was Ratnakara at that point of time. And Ratnakara realized that there is something wrong. And that is the time he kindled the spiritual interest. So he asked Narada, how can I get started in the spiritual path? And that is the time Narada suggested, there is one name that can transform you entirely. And that is the name of Rama, Rama Mantra. But Valmiki said, I can repeat Rama now, but I will forget eventually. Because he was completely engrossed in hunting and looting and nothing else he cannot remember. So to kindle his memory, Narada said, you may forget Rama, but you won't forget Mara. Mara means tree. Because you always wandering among the trees. So why don't you repeat Mara? And he started repeating. And that Mara became Rama. If you repeat Mara, it becomes Rama. And that mantra transformed him. And it is the mantra of Rama that transformed the Ratnakara to Valmiki, a tribal hunter transformed into one of the most revered sage of our culture. That is the power of Rama mantra. So Valmiki know the glory of Rama, but one act of Rama made some suspicion in the mind of Valmiki. The renunciation of Sita Devi. Valmiki said, how can a man who can renounce his innocent wife can be the most ideal human being? Can be the most dharmic human being? That is why he asked the question. And Narada explained everything. So after listening to Narada, the second chapter starts, or the second sarga starts. So Naradastu tada vakyam shrutva vakyena visharadaha pujaya masa dharmatma saha shishyu mahamuni. This is the first shloka of the second sarga. So after hearing the words of Narada, the noble-hearted sage Valmiki, right? And what is his skill? He is an expert in language, right? And he was like, he revered Narada. He paid his respect to Narada with his disciple. So Valmiki shows that deep respect after receiving the wisdom, because he received that wisdom from Narada. And what is that wisdom he received? It is the story of Narada. Again, these are subtle verses in Valmiki Ramayana highlighting the glory of the Guru Shishya Parampara. After receiving the knowledge, he expresses his gratitude, and he expresses that to Maharshi Narada. This is what kept the Sanatana Dharma alive through winning the test of time. If you really think about all the culture, ancient culture, all this culture disappeared somewhere or sometime. But the Sanatana Dharma, it's still thriving. It is still moving, right? It is still vibrant. Why? Because of these traditions. The Guru Shishya Parampara, the acharas and the maryadas established by our ancient sages and the community. So that is what is highlighted. This particular shloka, it is highlighted that Valmiki paid tribute and respect to Narada. And what happened? Narada was very happy that he could answer sage Valmiki, and he was also very happy to see how appreciative Valmiki was of the knowledge he received. So after the conversation, Narada took leave with the permission from Valmiki, and he departed, because Narada won't stay in one place at one time. Like, he will constantly travels throughout the world. So he took, meaning he said, I'm leaving, and he departed after that conversation. That is the second shloka. So let's continue. And respectful departure. So he said, he thanked Valmiki also. So this shows the glory of the culture. And then after Narada departed, Valmiki thought, okay, it's late. I need to do my everyday duty. So he wanted to take a bath. That is how the sages starts their morning. Like every day, they go to a river and take the bath. And he decided to go to a river called Tamasa, the river Tamasa. So Tamasa is very closer to river Ganga. And this Tamasa Nadi has a big significance. And that is where the first shloka in the earth is born. So he went to Tamasa, probably meaning Ganga is also nearby, but due to the conversation, he got late. So he walked towards the river Tamasa. Tamasa, like historically it is said that it could be a branch of the river Sarayu, which is described in Ramayana. But this Tamasa Nadi has a big significance in Ramayana. So Valmiki went towards the river Tamasa. So after that, what happened? Once he reached the banks of the river Tamasa, when he looked at the river, he saw pure water, crystal clear water. The sage was so happy. Maharshi Valmiki told his disciple Bharadwaja. Bharadwaja was the chief disciple of Valmiki. He told his disciple Bharadwaja, "Oh my God, look at that water. It looks like the mind of noble sages, noble human being." So he equated the river, pure river, like the mind of noble sages and noble people. Usually we equate the other way. We say that his mind is pure, like clean water or clean surface. Here it's the other way. He knew that the mind of noble people are clean, clear, pure. He said, look at this water. It looks like the mind of noble sages and human beings. Nice expression again. This is very beautiful. That's why I'm just calling that out. So the physical purity of the river is highlighted, and that is equated to the mind of noble human being. You can see Valmiki is considered like a master of the upama. Upama means similes. Kalidasa, right? He's supposed to be a master of similes. Like that, Valmiki also uses a lot of similes. We'll see that in the Ramayana. And this is one classic example. He equated the pure water of the river like the mind of a noble human being. That's the point. So now let's continue. So then he told his disciple Bharadwaja, let me take a bath here. So I want this river looks so good. I'm going to take a bath here. And then he asked Bharadwaja to hand over his Valkala. Valkala was so from the tree, they make something for wearing. So he asked Bharadwaja, because the disciple Bharadwaja was carrying his spare clothes. The cloth is what? The Maravuri or the Valkala. Whatever you create from that tree, they pull that out, and that is what they use to wear. The orange robes and all, it is the modern depiction. So at that point of time, the sages used to wear these Valkala. Valkala means the skin of the tree. So he asked the Bharadwaja, can you give me this Valkala? I'm going to take a bath in this river. So as soon as Bharadwaja gave this Valkala, Valmiki with the Valkala walked towards the river Tamasa. So at that point of time, he saw something. Something struck in his eyes. Remember the scene? Valmiki and Bharadwaja walked towards the river Tamasa. They reached the bank of the river Tamasa Nadi. And at that point of time, Valmiki asked Bharadwaja to give me my Valkala so that let me go into the water, pure water, and take a bath. And Bharadwaja handed over the Valkala. Valmiki handed over his Kamandalu to Bharadwaja. Just in word, you just imagine, right? This is what happened. And Valmiki walked towards the river. As he's stepping into the river, some sound grabbed his attention. And he just looked towards the direction of the sound. The sound came from the branch of a nearby tree. And in that nearby tree, he saw a couple of bird couple, Kraunja Miduna. Kraunja Miduna, the crane, that is the class of that birds. What is the speciality of these birds, Kraunja Pakshi or Kraunja Mithuna. This particular category of these birds, they always, the husband and wife or the mates, they stay together. In our literature, in our all the literature, it is described. And usually these Krauncha Pakshis were used to show the deep affection between the husband and wife, or the male and the female, between the lovers. So the Krauncha Pakshis are a symbolic representation of that deep love. Always you see them as pair. They sing and they enjoy the life beautifully, and you can see a very good harmony between them, these Krauncha Pakshis. These Krauncha Pakshis were making very nice sound, sitting on the top of a branch. That is the sight he saw. Now, something is going to happen. So, he saw the Krauncha Pakshis, and at that point of time, he was just happy with the harmony of the nature. And he saw how, even though they are birds, look at the harmony. Like, even sometimes even human being may not have that much of harmony. So he was very happy to see that birds, they are making nice sound, and the Maharshi was immersed in that beauty, and he was staying there. At that point of time, something happened. Suddenly, one bird cried and fell down from the tree. This male of the couple was hit by a sharp arrow, and this bird fell down from the branch to the ground and started crying, and actually and suddenly passed away. The blood gushed out of the body. Oh my God, that sight was very pathetic, and that sight was like heartbreaking. And seeing this, the female bird, right, she was completely devastated. She fell down, sat down near the body of her husband, and started crying. And anything like it, that scene was so touching that even the heart of a sage who has transcended all these things melted completely. The Shloka of that bird transformed into the entire nature. You could see the entire nature reacting to that. That struck the mind of Maharshi Valmiki also. Maharshi Valmiki was completely struck by the pain of this female bird. It was so painful. And Maharshi, when he looked back, he saw a hunter with bow and arrow. Maharshi didn't know what he is talking, what he is about to say. Something came out of his mind. That was very, very, very unique. And that is Shloka 15 of the Valmiki Ramayana. So let's listen to that Shloka, and then we will move on.
मानिषाद प्रतिष्ठां त्वम् अगमशाश्वती समाह यत्क्रौञ्च मिथुनादेकम् अवधिः काममोहितम्.
This is the Shloka, or the verse came out of Valmiki. So let's deep dive into that, because this is very, very important Shloka. And this Shloka, please note down, this is the 15th Shloka of the Sarga2 of the Valmiki Ramayana. Ma nishada pradiktham to amagama shashwati sama yat krauncha mithunat ekam avadhi kama mohitam This is the utterance of Maharshi Valmiki. Mind you, everything is written in shloka here. But in day-to-day life, people don't talk in shloka. They talk in like in prose. But this particular utterance came from Maharshi Valmiki as a shloka. There are three qualities for this shloka. One is it was akshara sama. Like there are 4 lines and each of these lines has equal number of letters. Ma nishada pratikam to agama shashwati sama yat krauncha mithunad eka avadhi kama mohitam. Every pada has equal number of letters. See, till then nobody created these shlokas, right? First time something came out of, imagine this is beautiful, right? Up until then, so you are conversing with somebody in your natural language, in prose, suddenly an incident, what came out of your mind as an outburst without thinking has a speciality. Akshara sama. Then padabadha, like it is broken into 4 lines and each line has equal letters. And then tantri laya samanyita. If you put a shruti or a tamburu or something like that, you can sing it nicely in different ragas. So padabadha, akshara sama, tantri laya samanyita. This whole utterance came out. And what was this utterance? This utterance was very unique. This utterance was Ma Nishada, O hunter. Then what happened? So you like Ma Nishada Pradiktam to Agama. Because what did you do? Avadhi Krauncha Mithuna. You killed one of the Krauncha bird. Because of that, you will not settle ever. That is what the whole verse was. You will not settle ever. What does that mean? You will not stay in a place. You will be always wandering, and that is going to be, you will never get settled in one place. Pradishtam, you will never get any glory. You will never get settled in one place. And you will be wandering shashwati. Shashwati means always. This was the kind of a curse. That is what happened. This is the birth of the poetry. And this is the Adi Shloka, the first shloka recorded in the human history by a human being. Why I was very specific about this? Because the Vedas was there earlier. And you know, Rigveda was Padya Pradhana. But why, even when Rigveda exists, even when Upanishad exists, why do we say that Vatmiki Rama, this is the first shloka? The reason is, this is the first shloka came from a human intellect. That is why it is known as the Adi Shloka. And why it is called Shloka? Because it came from Shoka. Shoka. Right? That is what it is. Shoka. So that which came as a natural outcome from Shloka is named as Shloka. Shloka came from Shoka. So this is what happened. Now, naturally, there is a question. What is the dharma of a hunter? Or what is the dharma of a meat eater? Vedas didn't say that hunting is wrong. A hunter, naturally, for him to get food, he has to hunt. Like a lion has to hunt. Or if you are a meat eater, yes, you can hunt. There is nothing, meaning no Vedas doesn't object that. So if that is the case, why did Maharshi cursed this particular hunter? The answer is simple. The commentators spent a lot of time in explaining that. The reason is you can hunt, but you cannot hunt when two birds are sitting together, and when they are in that atmosphere, you cannot kill. That is prohibited. And that is why this Shapa came in. But still Valmiki was doubtful. What did I do? Was it good from my side to curse that hunter when he was doing his dharma? So he was a little bit concerned. Because hunter, after all, why did I do that? Without my knowledge, without my thinking, these words came out of me. So that is one thing that was bothering Valmiki. We are going to see the answers in the next class. That answer will be given. Why that happened, the answer will be given. So Valmiki was a little bit worried about that. But this shloka came in. And then, so this is the birth of the poetry. And why, what is the speciality of this poetry and words? Poetry is the best medium to express emotions, isn't it? Through a poetry, because look at the songs, even the movie songs, how powerful they are in communicating the emotions. So that is why, see, there is a master design that is happening. When somebody is narrating the life of Rama, the life of the Maryada Purushottama, it has to be emotionally packed, emotionally conveying the message. And the best medium to convey that message emotionally is shlokas, or the poetries. And that is why this shloka originated. We will see that from the mouth of Brahmaji in the next class. But shloka is a better way of communicating emotions. That is one thing. And then we talked about the dharma and adharma. And so what the companionship, when they were together, the hunter killed one bird, and that was an act against dharma, and that is why Valmiki cursed him. So let's continue that topic. So after that, what happened? Valmiki uttered these words, and as I said, like a thought arose in his heart. What did I do? What exactly I just spoken? Did I carried away? Did I carried away by the grief or the sorrow? That is what worried him now first. Because this shloka was a spontaneous emotional utterance. Right? And Valmiki was saying, why did this happen? And so he was a little bit sad on what he did, but at the very same time, he was emotionally like affected by that plight or that sight of that killing of that one mate. You know, it is heartbreaking. So that is also was there. So these two points were really bothering him a little bit. So he was doubtful. What did I do? And then, as I said, like in Shloka 2.18, like 18th Shloka, he tells Bharadwaja. First he said, like, why did I do? Second thing, he was a little bit worried about the scene. Third thing he observed is what? Did I speak to you? He asked Bharadwaja. What? How did I talk to you? I talked to you in a very special way, or I talk to that hunter in a very special format. Padabadha, Aksharasama, and Tantri Laya Samanyita. What is this? How this particular style of communication came out of me? That was the next point. He talked to Bharadwaja. So the Bharadwaja also agreed. Oh my God, Maharshi, that is true. You employed a new means of communication, and which is Padabadha, Tantri Laya Samanyita, and Aksharasama. That is what it is. And so the Bharadwaja means the disciple of Valmiki. He was delighted. He was delighted to hear this. And he said, this is something unique. And I memorized this. This shloka, I memorized. That shows the diligence of a disciple. Something noble came out. He didn't understand much, but he thought this is something new. He just started recording that and collected that. So Bharadwaja said, O sage, this is unique, and I got it. And he also confirmed this is a different means of communication. This is Padabadha, this is Tantri Laya Samanyita, and this is Aksharasama, a new means of communication. So that is what Bharadwaja conveyed. And then what happened? So after that, okay, they said, let's go to the river, take bath and go back. So he said, so abhishekam tata krutva tirthe tasmin anyatha vidhi. So he went into the waters and took bath according to the vidhi. Vidhi means, please note, in Sanatana Dharma. See, this is what Ramayana, how it influences each shloka. You can see the culture of Bharat or India. You can utilize any resources in the world, but what should be the attitude? With reverence and respect. So when Maharshi Valmiki was entering into the river Tamasa, the Ramayana uses a word, Vidhi Purvakam. So there are certain rules or guidance or the guardrails you need to follow when you use natural resources. The natural resources are not created for your pleasure. So you need to understand that natural resource as an expression of the divine. This is the Vedanta comes in. Like each of these words has Vedantic meaning. So the natural phenomenal forces bless you with a lot of things. You can take that in a respectful manner without abusing it. Never ever abuse a river. Don't throw bad stuff into the river. Treat the river with dignity, purity. Don't destroy the sanctity of the river. Don't use that as a garbage bin. And now when you look at the rivers in India, this is the culture that you teach you. But in the name of religion, they spoil the river. Look at the river Pamba. Look at the river Ganges. The government is cleaning one side. The other side, people are polluting. Then government is cleaning, people are polluting. Look at Yamuna. All these rivers are horrible. In Bhagavatam, it is listed as rivers are like the veins of the Bhagavan. And the blood of the Bhagavan. And what do? You're spoiling the blood of Bhagavan. This is what it is. In Bhagavad Gita, 3rd chapter, Krishna tells, Devan bhavayatanena te deva bhavayantuvaha parasparam bhavayantuvaha shreya paramavapsisa. The phenomenal forces are going to bless you with the natural resources. You take it, with an attitude of gratitude. We don't believe that the whole world is created as a pleasure for you, right? Every planet, every plant, animal, and human being are created for human being. No, not at all. There is an ecosystem. There is something that unites the entire creation in one thread. And you are only playing one role in that overall cosmic system. And if you violate that role, that is going to create a problem. This is, you can see this in Ramayana, almost every part. How to treat river. Remember last week we were talking about Rama. Why did he move away from Chitrakuda? Because he found that people from the Ayodhya may come, and if they come, what is going to happen? It will destroy the ecosystem of the forest. He didn't want that to happen. And when he went to Panchavadi or the Dandakaranya, what exactly was the complaint given by he received from the tribals and the sages? These Rakshasas are destroying the balance of our forest. So you need to protect us. So this message is there throughout Ramayana, protecting the nature, or being in harmony with that entire cosmos. So this is highlighted when you see that Vatmiki took bath with respect, and he prayed to the river, took bath, and came back. So after taking bath, then they went back. And they went back to the ashram, and in the ashram, he did all his daily routines, and then he still, something was bothering. Like he was reflecting on what just happened. And then, before that, one more point. In Shloka 121, there is a beautiful point. We will stop there after covering that. But in Shloka 121, it is described. Vatmiki took bath and he went back to the ashram. And Bharadwaja, who is a very much learned sage, who was the disciple of Vatmiki, he was following Vatmiki. You see how the Guru Shishya Parambara, you give that respect to the teacher. And that is, it's not, it's a greatest culture of Bharat. How do you respect your teacher? Teachers are like Acharya Devo Bhava. That's what we say, right? Matru Devo Bhava, Pitru Devo Bhava, Acharya Devo Bhava, one more, Aditi Devo Bhava. This is our culture. And that is highlighted always in Ramayana. And they came back to the ashram. And in the ashram, Vatmiki was still thinking, even after reaching the ashram, he started doing his daily duties, but he was still thinking, what exactly happened? Why did I curse him? And why that curse came in the form of a shloka, Padabaddha, Tandrilaya Samannita, Akshara Sama. Why that happened? And that answer will be given to him in the next class. We'll cover that. One more side note. We were talking about the caste and everything, but last week, in this shloka, in the first 20 shloka, how Vatmiki was addressed is Dvija, many times. We said Dvija is a Brahmana. That is what it is. Do you know Vatmiki by birth, is he a Brahmana? So why he is referred as Dvija? You have to understand that at the time of the Vedic period, the Varna system was not Jati. Absolutely, it was not given to anybody by birth. It was given by Guna and Karma. Chaturvarnyam Maya Srishtam Guna Karma Vibhagasha. So one more example, which everybody knows Vatmiki. There is even a modern days, there is a caste in Haryana, which is like scheduled, caste scheduled tribe. Maharishi Valmiki is from that. And he was addressed as Brahmana, Brahmana, Brahmana. So clearly shows that the reference is not by caste, and nobody should feel that he is superior by birth. It should be our mental temperament, our effort, our learning that should earn our birth. Nobody should feel proud that my parents were, or my ancestors were, I born in a noble family. No, your merit will come only through our work. Who we are, what we are, that is what it is. So just one more point to show that we need to remove this caste mentality from our mind. This is a curse to Sanatana Dharma. Even now, people have that attitude. It is pathetic. That's all. And we will see this as we progress through the scripture. So I just wanted to highlight. Valmiki is highlighted as Dvija, Dvija, Dvija. And you will see this in the Mahabharata also. Who wrote Mahabharata and all the Puranas? Vyasa. And who is he? Son of a fisherwoman. So both the scriptures were written by, not by Jati Brahmanas. Who taught Bhagavad Gita? Krishna. And what was his birth? Yadava. If you translate to the modern equivalent, it is OBC. So none of them were Jati Brahmanas. So whenever the scripture uses Brahmana, please understand that it is not the Brahmana we call today. It is the Varna Brahmana. So in our class, we won't use the term Brahmana. We will use that spiritually inclined teacher. So Swami Mitrananda Ji was telling me, like, let's not use this term because this term is misused and abused by so many people. So that is one thing. With that, we can continue this session. And next week, we will continue this lovely story. The lovely story is Brahmaji appears in front of Valmiki and he solved the puzzles for him. Why things happen.